Okay, if you've not seen the Purge movies, you're not going to understand what the hell that intro was all about. And also, if you haven't seen the Purge movies, but you have seen a lot of reviews on YouTube of the sort of high-caliber reviewers like Chris Stuckman and Jeremy Jans, you're probably going to think these films aren't worth watching and probably won't ever get around to watching them as a result of that. So my kind of spin on this is, well, what is it? What is the Purge franchise? Is it good? Is it bad? Well, I would say it's pretty good, to be honest. Now, when I review films, I don't compare them to every other film ever made. I don't think, well, Shawshank Redemption is a good film. The Purge is just a piece of shit. No, I kind of look at things in context, okay? Not every film has to be Schindler's List, The Godfather Part 2, you know. You have lots of different standards, and in this kind of genre, you know, the kind of modern day psychological thriller horror film, the bar isn't very high, let's just put it that way, and that isn't really an endorsement of these movies. But I would say, compared to a lot of other stuff that's out there, these films have actually been pretty good. One other thing I would say about these movies is, this is a rare thing as well, I can't really think of many of the franchises that do this, they get better as they go along successively, and I would say they get better because they listen to a lot of the feedback, I would like to think that anyway, from the first movie. For example, a lot of the criticisms of the first Purge movie was, you know, this whole Purge night concept is quite a big concept, and you're basically limiting your story to the events that take place in one house. Now that is an interesting way of making the film, don't get me wrong, but it was a valid criticism of that first film. It's effectively a home invasion movie, but it kind of comes in the backdrop of something much bigger, and you don't ever get to see that much bigger thing in the first movie. So with that, going forward, they listened to the criticisms perhaps and made things bigger and made it about the country and what was going on in the streets rather than just one household. So that's something I would say is an endorsement to this, and this is something again that was a criticism that was levied against it by Jeremy Jans when that first movie came out, and it was a valid criticism, but I feel that they're a bit too harsh on these movies, and I say my co-reviewer at Brand X Reviews just will not watch these, and when I was kind of thinking, I wonder what the Purge movies like, he's like, no, seriously, don't watch them. I haven't seen them myself, but they're crap, they're just shit, because reviewers say that they're shit, so don't watch them because they'll be shit. I watched them and I didn't find them shit at all, and when you actually talk to people, not reviewers, you talk to just people that have seen these movies, yeah, some people may say they're a bit rubbish, but a lot of other people say, no, actually they're quite good, I enjoyed them, I'll be watching the next one when it comes out, kind of thing. You watch reviewers' reviews and they, like I say, they just hold them up to a higher standard, and I think a lot of the time it's just easier to slag a film off than it is to criticise it. And also, if you kind of seen endorsing a film like The Purge, you'll get shit for it. I will get shit for doing this video, I know I will, but there's a lot to like about these movies anyway, and this isn't so much a review of the film itself, this is more me kind of saying, don't necessarily write this film series off based on reviews that you've heard. Watch the films and the odds are you might enjoy them. I mean, they are a guilty pleasure. You can totally look at these films and, oh, it's not realistic. Well, Escape from New York isn't realistic, is it? But we still love it, you know what I mean? And it's effectively the same idea. There's no legal system out there on the streets. Whatever you do, the police are not going to come after you for it. Either run for your lives or just, you know, learn how to fight, basically. I mean, don't get me wrong, Escape from New York is a lot better film than all these three films combined, but that is an excellent film. But again, you can say, oh, it's not realistic, is it? Which is a lot of what people say, mostly reviewers on YouTube, because it's easier to slag these films off than it is to say, yeah, give them a watch, they're pretty good. And specifically, what would I say is good about these films? Well, it's not so much the writing. I mean, the story isn't half bad, to be honest. Again, it's not a Schindler's List, it's not a Godfather Part 2, it's a silly horror thriller film, pretty much in the same league as some of the Nightmare on Elm Street films. Maybe not the first one, because that's an absolute classic, but, you know, those kind of films. And I think it's another one of those things where the actors that are in this are also what make the films what they are. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, you just don't get very good female leads in films, and whenever they do, they have to be sexed up and they have to be like badass or whatever, like in sort of superhero movies. These films, all three of these films, have pretty good, solid female lead characters that are well executed, and I don't mean executed as in murdered, I mean the execution of the characters' portrayals are very good, and the actresses that are in them are very good as well, so that's another angle I would take on this. But some really great actors like Frank Grillo from number 2 and 3 really elevated this film series. Ethan Hawke in the first film was very good. He's always been an actor that I've liked to see in things, and he elevates anything that he's in. A really old film that I loved from when he was a kid, The Explorers, was one that I always remember him in, and anything I've seen him in, like Training Day and Assault on Precinct 13, even films that are pretty naff like Sinister, he was quite good in it, and if it hadn't been for him, that film would have been absolute dog shit. I mean, some would still argue that Sinister is dog shit anyway, but he was quite good in it, and he's good in the first Purge movie. But again, like I say, unfortunately with the first Purge movie, it is effectively just a home invasion movie. If it had just been that on its own and they hadn't done any sequels, I don't think I'd return to that movie. I only really return to it now because the second and third one are worth a watch. It's kind of like the Fast and Furious franchise in a lot of ways, is this series. I mean, it's a trilogy at the moment, but there is a fourth film to come, and I'm going to get to that. But it's kind of like the Fast and Furious films in that those films did not start out good. I mean, unless you're really into like the cars and stuff like that, there wasn't really much to take away from the first 2-3 films in that franchise. It wasn't until the later ones that it got better. The Purge in particular, the first film, isn't all that great. It's okay, but the second and third one really do kind of improve on it. Now again, I'm not like, jizzing in my pants watching this film. It's not amazing. I'm just saying give it a watch, because if I'd have written this series off because of negative reviews, I feel like I would have kind of missed out, to be honest, because there's not a lot of film franchises like this where they're going to kind of keep going with it, that up till now have been quite enjoyable. So again, like I said, I keep repeating myself here, but if you haven't seen this series, give it a watch. Realise you're not watching Schindler's List, it's not Godfather Part 2, it's not The Dark Knight. It's just kind of not low budget, but low expectations. But if you're bored on a Friday night, get a takeaway, sit and watch this with your girlfriend, you'll probably enjoy it. So yeah, I'll pretty much leave it there. One last thing I will say, like I say, this is a franchise that is going forward. Well, actually it's going backwards, because the next film is going to be a prequel. I don't feel too comfortable with that. I'm kind of thinking it's going to go downhill, to be honest, because I don't recognise any of the actors that are in The Purge. The Island, which is the fourth film in this franchise, and it's always been the actors in this movie that have been making them as what I perceive to be a good franchise. So if we don't have that, if we take that away, it's possibly going to go downhill from here. But again, I'm only basing this on unknown factors. I don't know who is in this film. I don't know the actors that are in it, so I can't say, oh great, well it's got an actor in that's really good. Definitely going to be good. So this film's coming out anyway, The Purge Island, next year, and it is effectively a prequel. Apparently it is based around the events that lead up to the Purge becoming something in American society. So I'll be looking out for that, but I'm not necessarily going to be looking forward to it. I've kind of got a bad feeling. So we'll see anyway. Like I said, this is all subjective. There's no right or wrong. If you think the films are shit, don't be afraid to put that in the comments. Just play nice as always. There's plenty of films that I know are bad, but I still like them. Like Highlander 2. Irredeemable, but I like it. Right, I'm going to leave it there anyway, because I'm kind of digging my own grave here. So I'll leave it there. Brand X Reviews is the channel. You can follow us on YouTube, obviously Instagram and Facebook, but for now I'll say thank you very much for watching.
standing.